Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to another session of your social science children. We are already seeing about the Harappan civilization, and then in that also we are seeing about the very main features of this Harappan civilization. So, here in our previous session we have seen about the society, their food habits, clothes and ornaments, and then the economic life, that is the occupation they were doing, or the transport, the mode of transport they used, their trade practices, and then about the usage of seals. So, we have seen all these in our previous session. So, now we are again going to continue with the main features of Harappan civilization now. So, today we are going to see about the art and culture, script and religion. Okay. So, with that we will be ending up with the main features of civilization, and then we will be seeing about how come this Harappan civilization started to decline, right. So, first we will see about art and culture. So, here you can see the sculptures were unique in its features. So, here you can see a bearded man, right, and with a dhoti being flung over on his shoulders, right. So, this was carved out of soapstone and it has been found from the Harappan site. So, he has been assumed, or he has been called as the priest king, okay, of this Harappan civilization. Then here you can see a girl, right, which was made up of bronze. So, the metal used was bronze. So, a bronze statue, and this statue was named as a dancing girl. So, we will see in detail about the art and culture of this Harappan civilization. So, no massive structures have been found in Harappan sites, which means we have already seen that it was democratic in nature, and so no palaces or royal tombs have been found from these sites. So, no massive structures were there, and many small statues and figures made up of terracotta, stone and metal were found by the archaeologists and historians. Okay, so all we could get from these Harappan sites were small statues which were made up of terracotta, bronze and stones. Fine. Then the detailing in the statues shows how skillful the Harappan artists were. See, once again we will just see that statue. The design, you could see that it is in such a way that the statue itself is very artistic, right. So, the artist who made this statue must be very much skillful, right. So, that is what we get to understand from these statues. So, here you can see the pots they used, right. They made paintings on the pots, the images of animals or the images of the birds or whatever they have seen, whatever they have observed, their images have been drawn on these pots. So, these are all the pots from Harappan civilization, right. So, here Harappan civilization people made variety of pots in different shapes and sizes using potter's wheel. So, they were using potter's wheel, and the pots were made up of different shapes and sizes. So, pots were made from a special clay and baked ones. So, the clay was very good in quality as well as it was used after baking, right, and they were painted with figures of birds, animals and even people. So, they wanted it to be appealing, they wanted it to be looking beautiful. So, that is how they started developing more and more. Next, we are going to see about the script of this Harappan civilization. Do you understand anything from this? No, right. So, even the historians could not understand what it is, fine. So, the Harappan people had a script which is not yet been deciphered by the historians, right. Deciphered means it is not understandable. Okay. So, see, they had a pictographic script. Okay, they had pictographic script. So, which means whatever they wanted to convey, they conveyed it through pictures only, right. So, through signs only they were conveying it. Nearly 400 signs have been identified from these periods, and then the scholars believed that the script was written from right to left, which means they started writing from this side and that is how they finished up this side. Okay. So, this is how their writing pattern should have been there. This is what the scholars believe today, and these scripts or these symbols or signs have not yet been identified that what those symbols meant. Okay. Then next we are coming to a religion. So, here you can see the picture of the statue of Mother Goddess. So, what are all the things they have worshipped? They were mainly worshipping all the natural resources first. So, nature worship was there, then worship of trees like peepal, and then worship of animals like bull, worship of Mother Goddess. So, all these excuse me. So, all these have been worshipped in this Harappan civilization period. So, again they had a belief in life after death. So, what they did? They buried the dead bodies along with their ornaments and the things, pottery, all those things which they were using in their daily lives were buried along with the dead bodies, right. Here a new practice again started. What was that? The dead bodies were cremated. Cremated means burning the dead bodies in fire. So, it all started in this Harappan civilization. So, what they did? They buried, they cremated the dead bodies, and the ashes was taken in a clay urn and that was buried in the soil. Fine. So, do you remember we've been seeing about the archaeological sources in our very first lesson of history. Yes, we have seen about the urn burials, right, which means the dead bodies have been buried, or the ashes of the dead bodies has been taken into a clay urn and that has been buried. So, this was the practice that started in Harappan civilization. So, now we are going to see how come this flourishing Harappan civilization came to an end all of a sudden, right. So, Harappan civilization was at its peak, it lasted for thousands of years. They were using all the advanced things, very good urban planning we have seen, the drainage system was good, everything was perfect, right. But how come this civilization came to an end? We are going to see that now. So, after flourishing for thousands of years, Harappan civilization came to a sudden end around 1900 BCE. So, we have seen that it started somewhere around 5000 BCE. So, it has lasted for almost 3000 years, but all of a sudden it came to an end in 1900 BCE. So, many reasons have been suggested by the archaeologists as well as the historians. So, shall we see what are they? Natural disasters like earthquakes, changes in the courses of rivers, repeated floods and droughts. So, there would have been natural disasters and changes in the courses of rivers. Course of river is nothing but usually a river will go in one particular path, right. The flow of the river will be in one path. So, maybe the river's paths would have been changed. So, courses of river is path through which rivers flow, okay. Path that was called as course, okay. So, maybe the changes would have happened. What would have happened if the changes, if the course had changed? The river would have flowed into the city itself, right. So, because of that, maybe the civilization would have come to an end, and then the repeated floods. So, when the river's course is changed, automatically the city will be flooded, right. So, maybe because of that floods and droughts. So, all these put together maybe would have resulted in the decline of Harappan civilization. Then human made causes. So, all these are natural causes. So, again here itself we started, right. So, human made causes like overgrazing, widespread deforestation, which led to decline in the quality of soil and increased aridity. So, human made causes overgrazing because they were growing more cattle. So, they had to have their food. So, overgrazing happened and then they wanted to spread their agriculture and their trade activities. So, they started cutting down the trees of the forest. So, then what happened? All these declined the quality of the soil. So, the quality of the soil gone down and increased aridity, which means the soil had no strength to hold a crop. No strength was there for the soil. So, because of that, agriculture had started to decline and again the civilization itself came to an end. Then collapse of trade with other civilization. Maybe the later generation people of this civilization would have not been able to manage trades with other civilizations. So, when that trade came to an end, the civilization also did not exist. Then falling trade meant less work for traders, craftsmen and farmers and falling income. So, when the trade falls, what will happen? No one will have work, right? They can produce, but to whom they will sell? Yes, they cannot keep it for long period. They have to sell it somewhere, then only they can get some income to run their lives. So, what happened? This falling trade meant less work for traders. So, traders had no works, craftsmen, farmers, everyone had lost their work. And some historians suggest that towards the end of the Harappan civilization, people started to move towards south and established small settlements. So, towards the end of this Harappan civilization, so when people were losing all the things which they had, they started moving towards the south and they started to settle down in small areas. So, they continued to follow some practices of the original civilization, including art, agriculture and social organizations, and many of these practices became a part of the Indian culture. So, even after shifting from that place, when they settled down in small areas, they followed the same culture which they were following in Harappan civilization. That is why there is called a specific term, Harappan culture, right. So, the practices became the part of Indian culture. Next, so with this the Harappan civilization have come to an end. Now we are just going to have a case study about two important places that belong to this same period, right. So, first one, the city of Rakhigarhi, okay. So, we call it as the lost city of Rakhigarhi, which is completely washed out. Of course, we have carried out many excavations from this place, but we could not continue the excavations. We are going to see why it was. So, this was a very important place in Haryana in India. So, this is an Harappan site which is called as Rakhigarhi, which is located in Hisar district of Haryana, and this place was discovered as an Harappan site in 1965. So, in 1965 this place was found as an Harappan site, which means this place belonged to Harappan civilization. That was found in 1965 and it was spread over 350 hectares, which is the largest Harappan site discovered in India till date. Even today, this is the largest site that belonged to Harappan civilization and located at the confluence of the river Ghaggar and the river Chautang. So, this place was located in the confluence of the river Ghaggar and river Chautang, which means two rivers meeting at one place, okay, and from there a new stream is getting formed, that is called as confluence, okay. Two or more rivers meeting in one place and from there a new stream forms and goes on, that is what we call it as confluence. So, this place is located at the confluence of these two rivers Ghaggar and Chautang, and then it was a very fertile area. So, here discovery of well planned drainage system, a raised platform that served as citadel. So, all these has been found from this Rakhi Gari. Then houses were built with baked mud bricks, and then bathrooms with soaked jars in this place shows that the town planning was very similar to that of Harappan civilization. So, this place belonged to Harappan civilization, but then it was far away from the main area of the Harappan civilization. Okay? But then the Harappan civilization was prevalent throughout these areas. Then plenty of potsherds with different designs of paint are found. So, many potteries with different designs and different images on the potteries are being found in that area. Then terracotta animal figurines, indoor board games, seals inscribed with Harappan scripts. So, all these are found. So, again the seals with Harappan scripts were found, and then the terracotta animal figurines and indoor board games started at this period. Then ornaments like shell bangles are also found. Then based on these findings, archaeologists again believe that this the civilization of Rakhi Gari was also started along with this Harappan civilization, which means in 5000 BCE. And at present, much of the sites lies buried under the fields and house of farmers. So, at present all these places, okay, all these are buried under the soil, and there are many buildings on these sites and many farmlands of the farmers. So, the active cultivation is going on in these lands. So, they own the land and are actively cultivating. So, because of that, we are not able to continue our excavations. Okay. So, this poses a serious threat to possibilities of future excavation. So, when a place is being owned by someone, right, and when they are actively continuing agriculture in that land, definitely they will not give the land for excavation purpose, right. So, this is giving us a serious threat about the future excavations, right. Next, we are going to see about another important place, Dholavi. Okay, Dholavi, it is equally an important civilization like Harappan civilization. So, first we will see what it is. It is located in the island of Kadir, Gujarat, and it is surrounded by the Great Rann of Kutch. Okay. Then it was discovered, this place was discovered around 1967 to 68, and this is the 5th largest site of Harappan civilization. So, here you can see the site of Dholavi, which is being found. And here the excavations have given us information about black and red potteries, and then about the bronze vessels were being used during this period, and then the seals which were square in shape, beads, shells, and even the animal bones were found in this site. And then the ornaments were made up of silver, gold, terracotta, and beads were also found. And then the tools mainly used were bronze, hammers, and chisels. So, here metal was used to make tools. Fine. So, then here you can see the 10 characters of Harappan script, okay, which is being used on a signboard, and that has been found from Dholavi. Fine. So, this is the big signboard with 10 characters of Harappan script. Of course, we are not aware of what does these symbols mean. Then the town plan of Dholavi was a little different from the Harappan city. So, this is where this Dholavi civilization again differed from the Harappan civilization. Then there were 3 parts of the cities. One was citadel, then there came a new part which was called as middle town, and then came the lower town. So, buildings were made up of stones, and hemispherical buildings that looked like Buddhist stupas have also been unearthed. So, here these two are the major difference between Harappan civilization and Dholavi civilization. Okay. So, here came a new town called middle town. Previously, it was only upper town and lower town, but here it was citadel, middle town and lower town, and here there were hemispherical buildings which resembles the Buddhist stupas today. Okay? So, this is how the Harappan civilization had ended. So, see you soon in another interesting lesson, children. Thank you. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.